This is CoinGeek.com with me, Stephanie, and today I'm here with Sinjin Jung, the Managing Director of ARCC.
Yes.
Sinjin, you guys are doing a very interesting project, and let's start first by describing to us what ARCC is and why are you in this space?
ARCC is the Asia Reserve Currency coin, and it's a macroeconomic stable coin for financial inclusion. I know it's a mouthful, but basically it's a social impact project. And the project itself is creating a decentralized information network for emerging markets for the urban working poor. So we have a whole demographic of people in Southeast Asia that are very disenfranchised from the economy of Southeast Asia. So in the last 10 years, 66% growth in GDP across Southeast Asia. But for the urban working poor in urban centers like Bangkok, Manila, Jakarta, like their lives haven't changed at all. And people talk about banking the unbanked, but we know that in this demographic group, some people don't even have IDs. Right? And so our purpose is really to create structural financial inclusion through distributed decentralized networks. And what that means is essentially creating a crypto economy that fits them, right? Specifically for them, and that's able to empower them with a micro asset and trying to create a new kind of economic system for them specifically.
And it's very interesting. And I understand one of the things that I've read about ARCC is you guys are trying to fight corruption, which is very prevalent in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
So how are you going to do this?
Well, essentially, if you have corruption, it basically disallows for all other kinds of economic development. It basically makes everything very inefficient. So for us, what we're really trying to do is really create a reporting system where you have an app, something like Waze, where you can go and then you can say, okay, this road is under construction, or we had this many brownouts, energy brownouts, or we had this many floods, or so on and so forth, or this is how much my internet costs. And once you have that kind of baseline data, we can show how it's changing or not changing, and then politicians or even the groups themselves can say, hey, this is an issue, and we have real data to back it up. The problem is with social media is it could be a really great issue right now, and people can riot and they can go crazy about it, and then what happens after, right? So we're trying to create a kind of social security and representation net for these people where they can back it by hard data, and the governments can do that as well. I mean, a lot of countries in Southeast Asia are democracies, right? And this is not a whistleblowing site. We're not trying to pin out people and say, you're bad, you're good, whatever. We're just trying to say, this is the data, and the data speaks for itself. Having navigated the space in Asia and Southeast Asia for the last 15 years, I think I understand about the corruption very well, but I also understand how do we engage those people who are benefiting from corruption to realize they get more benefit from basically working and creating a new demographic, a new social class, a new consumers that have buying power to engage the economy. So we're not trying to disrupt anything, but we're trying to create accountability.
And that's a very good point. And I understand that you're trying to target the urban poor.
Yes.
And of course, there's obviously a lack of education when it comes to the social class. Then
Yes.
how do you engage them to actually use this coin, this platform,
Yep.
in order to actually connect what they're trying to do with the government?
So essentially, as you may know, in the Philippines, it's like the 8th largest market for Facebook. And in Cambodia, the major news source is Facebook. In Southeast Asia, it's a very tech, social media frenzy type of environment. So I think in terms of education, it's always viral. It will be influencers. It will be people who are saying, look, we're taking a stand for our people. Right? I think once we start to get that kind of momentum, it will just happen. But our plan is a 40-year plan. Right, so we're going to spend 8 years to really develop the baseline information and also the value of the coin. It's very hard for me to say this in an elevator pitch to a lot of people because it's not a product, but if you're really serious about changing the world, and I am, and I would like to win the Nobel Peace Prize for this project, it's not because I want to win it, but I want to put myself at that standard, because if we do change the economies of Southeast Asia in this respect, we're affecting the lives of like 81 million people who live in these urban centers. And there's no reason in 2019 why Southeast Asia should still be an emerging market, other than the fact of corruption and a lack of accountability.
And everything will happen within the blockchain technology.
Yes, and so basically we're creating a decentralized information network. So the information that's uploaded will be verified by the person who's uploading the information, but it will not be tied to them, and then the data will be aggregated, and then so the raw data we will be putting on the chain, and then we'll be putting the verified data, so it will be for public consumption, and then people will be able to see the difference between the raw data, the verified data. So, there's going to be the accountability and transparency there as well.
Very interesting, very promising, and we wish you all the best in this project.
Thank you very much.